Guys, this one is interesting. Interesting, I tell you. So, we have Paula from News Nation. She's going to interview a very interesting individual. So, back in the days, a certain department was created within the New York police system, the New York Police Department. And this certain department that was created was called the Hip Hop Police. Now, during the time, rappers were talking about it, people knew about it, and some believed and some disbelieved. But we had the Hip Hop Police, and they were tasked to find out and keep the department posted on what's going on in the hip hop business, because there were so many rivalries and they were scared that people would end up coming up dead, right? And as we know now, it did happen. The rivalry, the dispute, people end up losing their lives. So Paula is going to interview this guy. His name is Derek. And she's also going to talk about what's going on in the entertainment industry. Now, the crazy thing is, people are staying so quiet. These celebrities are so quiet. They're doing these three things. They are unfollowing people that they've followed for years. They are staying quiet and not saying anything. And they are pretending that they are not involved. It's seemingly so. This is how it seemed to everybody. Everybody's a hush hush, shh, not saying anything, right? But as we know, on the heels of what's happening with Puffy, people like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Ashton Kutcher, LeBron James, and so on and so forth are all staying quiet, right? Usher, they're all staying quiet. Everybody that's famous that could be implicated in what's going on with Diddy, they're staying quiet. Not only that, some of the tapes that the feds confiscated are now being sold. It's just crazy. But you guys are going to hear it from Paula and Derek. And you're going to hear some of these famous names that you wouldn't have thought would be involved in some of these dark secrets. Well, secrets are usually dark, right? But let's get into it. Let's roll the video and hear what's going on. Stay tuned. Here we go.
These secrets, we are breaking it all down, and like a good dirty martini, we're serving it to you straight up. And this week, oh, it's full of scandal. We have got Mariah Carey, we've got Justin Timberlake, we have got Barbara Streisand. Can you believe that one's involved in scandal? And of course, we got Diddy with a side of Jay-Z. I'm Paula Froelich, and this is The Scoop. Okay, now y'all will remember last week when I told you some major celebrities were quaking in their boots, and oh yes, you got people like Jay-Z, Usher, Justin Bieber, Drake, Jennifer Lopez, Ashton Kutcher, L.A. Reid, and a whole lot more not sleeping at nights because they waiting for the feds to call, and for good reason. Can you believe what happened this week? This is nuts. It gets dirtier and weirder with Diddy every single time. So this lawyer out in Texas, he's coming up and he's like, I got 120 clients, 60 men, 60 women. It's good to know that they don't discriminate. But there we go.
Equal opportunist. No discrimination. They're just simply equal opportunist. Let's roll this clip. Let's continue.
We got all these, and of his clients, let's break down some of the seediest, nastiest stuff. There's one kid who was 9 when he met with Diddy with his parents and then somehow ended up getting molested by Diddy because, I'm sorry, where are the parents? The parents are like, well, we thought our kid would have a music album, record, contract, bling, blong. Okay, that's cool, but what are you doing leaving someone like that alone? That's like proffering up twins to Michael Jackson. That's a hard pass. You don't let a grown-ass man take your 9-year-old child away and do stuff and then come back and years later say, oh, we're mad now. No, you don't. You know what the proper thing to do is to go run right down to the police department and say, hello, this just happened. Did they do that? No, but they're doing.
This is getting crazier and crazier. 9 years old. 9 years old. I'm seriously hoping that, wow, 9 years old. I hope this is not real. 9 years old. Wow.
On that now. Okay. Then there was a 15-year-old who Puffy allegedly flew to New York to meet with her, drugged her, and she ended up being gangbanged. Then there was a pregnant woman. No one is off limits here for this guy. A pregnant woman in Miami. She goes out to dinner with him and his crew and some other people. She's refusing all drinks because she's like, no, I'm pregnant. Let everyone know I'm pregnant. We're not doing that. Well, guess what happened? Someone slipped something into her water or her soda, and she woke up in Puffy's bed with tearing in her vagina and her anus. What?
Whoa.
I'm just wondering, some of these people claim that they went to the police at the time and nothing had happened. But some of these people, you're like, what? I'm sorry, if I was a mother, which I am not, and I had a 9-year-old child, which I do not, and something happened to that 9-year-old child, oh, no, because you know Florida is a lax gun state, and it would have been all over. It's insane, the stuff that is coming out now. Now, listen, I have to read this out. So, Erica Wolf, Combs' lawyer, said in a statement, I'm going to read it to you so I don't get in trouble. The rap mogul cannot address every meritless allegation in what has become a reckless media circus. That said, Mr. Combs emphatically and categorically denies as false and defamatory any claim that he sexually abused anyone, including minors. Now, let's all take that with a little bit of grain of salt, because you remember when he settled Cassie's lawsuit, he was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I never touched her. We were in a loving relationship. And then, the tape drop. And he was like, sorry. So here's the bigger problem. And this is what I am hearing from very good sources. You know, Puffy taped everybody, right? He had all those cameras everywhere, and he had a library. And unlike Epstein, the library didn't just disappear. Puffy's library is now in the hands of the FBI. However, there's also word that some of these tapes are being sold for as much as $500 million on the dark web. And I hear from very good sources, 3 people in fact, that one of the tapes involves a mega music star who was underage at the time, and that another tape involves a mega Hollywood person, and that person was involved in a gangbang, and that the tape has now disappeared because the management of that Hollywood star forked out some serious cash for it. But what's really upsetting is, how are these tapes being leaked? How are they getting out there? I don't understand. It is creepy and it is weird. And for somebody who had a night that they wanted to forget, guess what? They can't. And they're worried that it's always going to happen. So listen, I went to someone who knows. There's this guy named Derek Parker. He's a friend of a friend. He's also known as the hip hop cop because he was in the NYPD for many years. And in the 90s, you know, when the rap scene was popping up and they were, you know, the East Coast, West Coast battles, and it was getting vicious, he went to the NYPD and was like, yo, you guys should keep an eye on this. And they said, great, Derek, you keep an eye on it for us. So he did, and he knew Diddy very well. He also knew Jay-Z. And This is what he had to say. Do you think that Jay-Z, from what you know of him, do you think that he knew what was going on these freak offs and these parties and the drugs?
I would say that it's alleged that he knows, but they were. I mean, a lot of people went to these parties. It's not just Jay Z. There are other
Oh,
more important
trust me.
people that are at these freak off parties that are very. Everybody's running scared right now. If you notice.
So who other more important people? Like, what are the names that you would be looking
Well, I
at
mean,
if you
Ashton
were?
Kutcher has already been
Hmm.
linked to having business with Diddy and being involved
Mm-hmm.
in some of the things. So I know that he's a little taken back by this because I've been hearing that about him. And then
Good.
there are other people that Diddy has had relationships with. You got to remember, he was a billionaire and on a billionaire status where
Mm-hmm.
he moved and ran with the most elite celebrities and entertainers in the world. So I'm sure all these people were at this party at one time. LeBron James was always saying, "Hey, Diddy party there's no party like a Diddy party."
I
So,
mean, wait. I mean, because I've been reading about that too. Do we really think LeBron James went to some of
oh
those
yeah,
freak offs?
he was at those parties. From what we know, he was definitely at those parties. They're linking so many celebrities into.
Man, a lot of people are running scared right now. The NBA, the NFL, the film industry, the music industry, the corporate uh, uh, um, corporations, corporate executives, politicians. A lot of people are running scared right now, right? A lot of people are running scared. And of course, some people are going to come to the defense of LeBron. We don't know. These are allegations. But he did say in an interview on video, having a conversation with Diddy, that ain't no party like a Diddy party. So I don't know if the NFL are going to distance themselves from LeBron. I hope that he didn't he wasn't a part of the freak off party, the party within the party. I hope not, because that would just be another person that would have gone down in history as one of the greats to have tarnish this tarnishment on their name, right? And a lot of families are going to be destroyed along the way. And the ones with money may be able to get themselves out of it and be may not even be touched or slightly touched, right? And with right attorneys and the right propaganda, the right remixing, they will probably be able to get themselves. The possibility that they can do it is highly there. The probability that it may or may not happen is also there. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed and wait to see what's going to happen. But I just hope that some of these very well, what is considered good people don't go down in a drain, don't get flushed down the toilet, because Diddy might be taking down a lot of people with him. But let's continue.
To this Kevin Hart now. They're putting so many
Mm.
people involved. If you every day the Kardashians, every time you see something go on, you see people putting all these different people as possibly being
Right.
at these parties. So
And the Kardashians went to his parties back in the day when Kim was just starting out and was hanging out with Ray J, and we know about that video.
right, exactly. So a lot of this stuff is right now. Everything is starting to come out, and this you haven't seen the last of this. This is just the beginning.
What are the
There's
biggest names that you think we're gonna see?
Oh my God, they've listed a bunch of names like Chris Brown. I mean, there's so many names that have been
Yeah.
listed in this party, and they're all A type celebrities. Justin Bieber, Usher. They're putting all of these people
Well, I
in
look at Justin
these
Bieber and
events.
Usher as kind of victims, you
Yeah,
know?
and they may well be, in
I
these
mean, we now
cases.
got talk of a 9-year-old involved. So,
But here's the problem too that's coming out with this, and this is what I see. is that
Uh-huh.
now Texas already said they have over 50 individuals, and they're
No,
monitoring
no, they
No,
got
no.
over 120.
over 100. Okay, now over
Mm-hmm.
100. And
It's
these
insane.
people are coming out now because a lot of it, and like one attorney said to me, Derek, a lot of this is maybe somewhat real, and some of them is
Mm-hmm.
not real. So
Yep.
it's really a money grab in some of the cases. But they have to sift through that. They have to
Mm-hmm.
determine what's real and what's not real, because a lot of people
And
are going to make allegations.
did you see this? Because what I saw in my time at Page Six in the music industry, they were always it was always a very misogynistic scene. It was like they would talk about chicken heads and passing the girls around, and it was just taken for granted. It was like, oh yeah, I get that
Well,
one.
I got to tell you, when Diddy threw his parties, especially his white parties and stuff, everybody wanted to be there. And if you didn't dress a certain way to have a suit on or what he
Mm-hmm.
specified you needed to have to get in, he wouldn't let you in no matter who you were. And everybody wanted to come to his parties. Everyone, celebrities, NFL players, Major League Baseball players,
Yeah.
NBA players. But listen, it is because of who he is and who he was.
What do you think snowballed Puffy? I knew him as Puffy.
I know him as
From
Puffy.
Thank you so much. I had some people in the office being, you don't know him at all. Nobody calls him Puffy. I'm like, oh, that's because you're 20.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what do you think? At what point did it snowball from Diddy breaking into the music industry, Diddy becoming semi mogul, then going more into marketing? At what point do you think it took a really, really dark turn? Because for me, it was the Club New York shooting.
No, well, the Club New York shooting was it was a start. That whole case that's the start of everything that happened. What I think happened is that he gradually became this person who was starting to climb the ladder in the entertainment industry, where he was becoming one of the more prominent music executives in this business. He and Jay-Z, if you notice, they've elevated themselves to be very, very big music moguls and in this industry. So I think what happened was that on his way up, he probably thought maybe he was invincible with some of the things that he did, because if you saw some of the things that he talked about and how
Yep.
he treated people, he had no care about what he said to you or what he did to you, and he didn't care much about that. So I think what happened was that it took a turn where he thought he could get away with certain things and nobody would say anything because they either can be paid off or maybe, in some way offer some kind of compensation and forget about it and move on. And that's what I think
Well,
happened.
it's actually interesting because I've talked to a bunch of people and they always use, and I remember Puffy bragging about it to me too. Like he's got the cops on his payroll, he's got cops who can sort everything out in New York, LA, and Miami. Did you ever see any of that?
I never saw that. I don't know if that's true. If he had any cops on his payroll, it could be possible. Like I said, I haven't had a connection with Puff for years, but it could be possible where he might have had somebody who was friends with him, but I don't know that.
Did he ever approach you and be like, "Hey, what's going on, Derek? Want to?"
No. When we left and disconnected, we just disconnected. When I was in the police department, they felt also they were troubled about myself too, because when I took over this rap intel unit, I created it, and they were asking me like, we were worried that you could be compromised, where you might start to see the celebrities and see this thing for yourself to build something bigger. But I was never like that. And even when I retired off the job, they did the same thing when I was with the Murder Inc. guys, and they were following me, the FBI, looking to see if I was going to be providing trade secrets. Like, I was going to give away, showing rappers how to do X, Y, and Z. And that was never the case. I was just more of a security guy running a security business. So they were looking into that because I had so much knowledge about what I created.
When you were a security guard, did you ever work with Puffy?
We had, when he was some of the clubs I was at, he came to he was at the parties, yeah.
Okay, so you were security for the clubs and
The club,
parties.
yeah, he came and did the party at the club, right.
Got it. Not for individuals.
No.
Okay, so what do you think Jay-Z's doing right now?
Huh.
I think that he's very nervous and he's probably insulating himself from a lot of people. He's probably cut off some of the people. A lot of these rappers now, if you notice, some of them are unfollowing people. They start to unfollow people because this big thing with the case with Diddy has caused a lot of concern. So I think Jay-Z right now is probably building up his attorneys just in case something comes his way. That would be the smart thing to do. I'm pretty sure that Beyonce is having some trouble with this as well because she's a mega entertainer herself. So she's
Well,
probably
yeah,
concerned also about the fallout that he may
yeah.
face over this.
Understandable. I mean, we all remember Solange going crazy on Jay-Z in the elevator, and she didn't do
Right,
that
right.
for
That was a
Hmm.
nothing.
long time ago. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago, but you knew stuff was going on back then, you
Right,
know?
right, right.
So, interesting. Where do you think this is going to go?
Well, I can tell you this. His attorneys are looking for another bail hearing to try to get him out. I don't think that's going to be too. I don't think it's going to be successful.
What is it?
But
Third time's the charm?
well, it might be
I mean,
because he hired a new team of legal experts to go
Wow.
in that do appeals.
uh-huh.
So they may come in and I guess they'll formulate a document to tell the judge that this is why he needs to be out, and the judge may go for it. But I don't know. That's iffy. The Southern District's very difficult, so it's not so
Mm-hmm.
easy with them. Um, I think that in this case, you have all these people that are coming forward. There's going to be so much mounds of paperwork that these attorneys are have to go through with not only the criminal defense, but the lawsuits, the civil lawsuits that he's got. This is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
take years. They're going to have a team of lawyers.
Yeah.
He's going to go bankrupt after all this is done with all these um, um, uh, legal things you
Yep.
have to go through in court. So I see it as being a problem, but I don't see him getting out. I think with so much of the outcry of the victims in this case,
Hmm.
he may
Yep.
either make a deal where he becomes king for a day, as they call in the district. They do that when they proffer you in the federal government, and
Yep.
he tells everything he knows about someone else. That might be bigger than what he's doing. So, for
Interesting.
example, if he wants to gamble, and I'm just giving you my opinion
Right.
because I've done these cases. So if he goes in and the U.S. attorney says, "Hey, what other information do you have that's maybe more credible or bigger than what he's in on?" They may offer him a deal. You
Do
know,
you think he's going to rat?
I think anybody will rat if they're getting put into a certain position. When
Hmm.
you're looking at
Interesting.
R. Kelly time, R. Kelly's doing 20 to 30 years on
Hmm.
two separate cases in jail. And
Uh-huh.
look what happened. And you look what happened to R.
And that
Kelly.
was only 2 cases. Now
That was two cases, right? He's got
he's got like
multiple.
100.
And the problem you have too is the outcry of all these witnesses. It's hard for a jury, I think, to
Mm-hmm.
listen to all these people come forward if the government presents them to give a positive verdict where he gets acquitted. That's going to be very difficult. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Eric Adams.
Oh,
Did you know Eric? Because he was a cop when you were a cop.
I went to high school with him,
No
and we're
way.
good friends. We're good friends.
So what's going to happen in that?
I feel bad for him. I really do. I talked to him about maybe 2 or 3 months ago. We were talking.
Eric Adams, Mayor Eric Adams from New York. He was also indicted in the last few weeks, right? So there have been allegations going on, and he got indicted last week. So with the potential of him getting indicted to this week, it's been a few weeks now, right? And he says he's not stepping down. The only person that can remove him from service is the mayor. Is the governor. The governor is the only person that can remove him from his post as a mayor. All right, so that's who they're talking about, and he's also from New York, just like Diddy. And with Diddy, they're friends as well. He and Diddy are friends. He actually gave Diddy the key to the city, right? So, and in one of Diddy's song, he said, "I run New York. I run New York." And he has a song say, "I run New York. Tell the DA, the Fed, the police to come get me," right? And he also said that if he's going to go down, he's going to take everybody with him in the song, right? So this is Mayor Adams. This is who they're talking about. He's also friends with Diddy. So this is why he's also mentioned here because of what's going on with him.
Yeah.
And this stuff, I guess I'm not in his inner circle, but his people.
Right.
But I feel bad for him because he really is a good guy. And we went to high school together.
Was he like, I don't know what's going on, or what does he say about it?
Well, I mean, we didn't really talk politics, he and I, but he talked about family, my sisters, my brothers, because we all grew up.
Got
And
it.
you know, I know everybody in this inner circle too. So we
Mm-hmm.
all remember I'm from Queens as well. So
I
we all
gotcha.
grew up together. I
So
know
you know the
Banks,
Banks brothers.
I know them.
Uh,
I know two
got
of
it.
the Banks brothers, but not. I mean, we're growing up as friends, but in business and stuff like that, I'm not involved with them
Got.
like that.
I gotcha.
My sister knows them too.
What do you think is going to happen? Is he going to go down?
Again, with the government right now and the way they presented this case, it's very difficult. He may have to resign. I hope. I wouldn't like to see that, but the governor is the only person that could go and remove him. But I think these Democrats are all vying to get him out, to oust him.
I did leave calls with Jay-Z's company. They didn't call back, but I do love that Derek Parker is probably the only person in all of New York City who's sticking up for Mayor Eric Adams. He's probably his only unindicted friend still sticking around. And you know what, Derek? Okay, you got to stand up for your high school boyfriend like that. All right, I get it. And by boyfriend, I mean friend, who is a boy, not the other way around, not the puffy way. And now it's on to poor Justin Timberlake. Oh, what a year this kid has had. Cry fake tears and play the softest, tiniest violin. I mean, this kid, he did have a rough year. He started off, Britney Spears fans were like, oh, hell no, we're coming for you, because, you know, he basically sold out Britney, made her get an abortion, all this stuff that was out in her book. And then he was like, what? Trying to keep a low profile. Then, of course, you'll remember this. Wayne Scott Lucas, Janet Jackson's stylist, came on my show the other week and was like, yeah, that Super Bowl 2004 bad outfit.
Y'all remember that? That was a big thing back then. Big thing, right? And listen, some heads were rolled. It was just a big scandal that was going on between Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson and everybody else that was involved in the background. But it was a big thing back then, several years ago.
You know, the malfunctioning wardrobe. Well, guess what? Justin not only knew about it, he actually did it in rehearsal 7 times before.
You see how they plan these things? Do you see how they plan these things? We, as the common folks, think that it was an accident and it wasn't meant to happen that way, but they rehearsed it. They rehearsed it and fooled everybody. Why? To sell albums, to keep their names fresh in people's head and fresh on people's tongue. They want us to be talking about them all the time. So they'll do these little things. They'll set these stages for these kind of gossip to take place. Why? Because they want to make sure that they stay relevant. That's what it's all about. Attention. Once you have attention and you know how to parlay that attention, you can make wealth from that attention. And that's how they know how to manipulate us so they could sell more ads, sell more records, sell more films, sell more products, and so on and so on and so on.
Then he had the old DUI. Then, for people who read my column, and you should, because back in the early summer, I was the first to report that his tour, the Forget Tomorrow tour, wasn't doing so well, and it wasn't selling out, and it was having some problems. Well, guess what? His arenas look a little packed, but there's a reason for that. I went online, and oh, all the New York City shows, which is supposed to be a stronghold for old JT, you got seats selling for $47. And the expensive seats are like $1,300, $1,600. Okay, now that is a lot of money. I'm not spending that on a ticket. No, sir, I'm not. Unless, of course, it's Cher's actual last show. But you look at people like, I don't know, Taylor Swift and Beyonce. They're good tickets. Now, they were selling for like 8 to 20 grand. All right, so as Teray once told me, sometimes you don't retire. The fans retire you. Bye, Justin.
All right, guys. I'm going to stop it here and we can wrap it up and enjoy. Hope it was interesting. And see you on the next one. Talk to you soon. And remember, question everything. Because if you don't, you could fall for anything. Think and say, let's talk about it.